Hi, welcome to the video. So I'm going to teach a couple different things. I'm going to teach a solo that I wrote for this video. I'm also going to teach some fingerings of 7th arpeggios that I haven't taught before. These specific fingerings are second inversions of the 2-note per string ones. I've already done videos on the first inversion, third inversion, and root position for 2-note per string ones, so I'll link up in the corner so you can find those if you want to try those. I'll go and play a solo first, then I'll get into fingerings. The fingerings are super easy, especially if you know 3-note per string scales. You'll be able to learn them in literally seconds. All right. Okay, so that was a solo. And again, all this stuff, like always, can be downloaded for free on my Patreon page. I include fingerings, the names of the arpeggios that are being shown. So let me get into these arpeggios. So the reason I did this one last for the 2-note per string ones is because it really is super simple. So I didn't know if it was really necessary to teach it, but it's also one that a lot of people might not think of. And you've probably already used the minor 7 fingering for this, because if you play a minor pentatonic scale, these last 4 notes is actually a second inversion minor 7. The A minor 7 is A, C, E, G. Here's the E, which would be my 5th. The G, which is the flat 7, the root, and the flat 3rd. So all these will be in that same order. So the first note on the second string of the 2-string grouping will be a root. Now this is super easy to figure out, because if you know 3-note per string scales, like let's say do a C major one, and I have this written down on the tab. All you have to do is take out the middle note and play in sets of 2. So if I play here, this would be the root. So in this case it's F major, so this is F major 7. And again, it's the 5th, 7th, root, and 3rd, and it will be that order always. I did write that down on the tab too. So the next one would be, the root would be this, so there's the root, and this would be in this case, a B minor 7 flat 5, and that'd be a E minor 7. Now that shape will be the same for any minor 7s. In this case it happens to be E minor. Now when I cross the B string, it's going to be the same shape, but the second one's pushed up one, so I end up using the 3rd finger on the second when I'm crossing a second string. So that's a A minor 7 and a D minor 7. So now if you take that and move to any of your 3-note per string scales, so you can do the same thing. And you can find this even if you don't know what the names of them are. If you're not that comfortable with the notes on the neck, you can just take any of those 2-string groupings and they'll play them. Now they sound, if you just put them together like that, more like a pentatonic scale. I think because, again, it's right in the pentatonic scale. So the way you can make it sound more like a arpeggio is like when I use them, you don't necessarily have to start on it. You're just getting comfortable with the fingerings on. So like in that solo, I started with a regular sweeping A minor 7. And then I used this little piece, which is also A minor 7 on that. Before I get into, so in the solo, you'll see a lot of different ways to use them, both combining them with scales, where if they sound a little bit more like a pentatonic, that's okay. It still gives you a way to break up your scale, or combining them with arpeggios, in which case they'll sound a little bit more like arpeggio. Let me demonstrate moving up the strings though first. So if I'm taking a single set of strings, the ones I used was the 3rd and 2nd string and the 5th and 4th string. So the first one was minor 7, major 7, and the names will all be on the tab, which you can download for free on my Patreon page. Link is in the description. I think I already said that, but just in case. And then if I do it here, same thing. So again, the name will just be this: D minor 7, E minor 7, and then F major 7, G 7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, and C major 7. Okay, so let me go ahead and go through. So all that's written up here. Here's the ones moving up the 2 strings. Here's showing on the scale. I'm going to jump into the actual solo. So I'm starting with this. Do a little sequence to change directions. And then I go go down. If I wanted to continue all the way to the root, I could, but I'm purposely kind of emphasizing these fingerings that are the second version that I'm teaching on this. So then I go into a scale run, and then come back. Now that might sound a little bit out of place. That's because that's a B flat, and so I purposely decided to put this lick. The rest is in C major, but this one's in F major temporarily. It's because I just thought it broke up the sameness of having it in the same key the whole time. But all of the rest, other than this little section, is in the key of C major. So, anyways, after I did that, I'm just sweeping down what's actually a D minor arpeggio first inversion. Then coming down the G7. Now, at this point, you could think of this as a G7, but it kind of starts overlapping into this, which is a D minor 7, that second inversion we were talking about. So at what point it stops being a G and starts becoming a D minor is a little bit unclear, so I wrote both on there. Then go back to root position. Then I'm going to come back starting on the E. I hit that twice to start off. And do a similar part of sweeping down, then doing this little section that's a B minor 7 flat 5 fingering, and ending on the B minor, but I started off on the E minor. Then here, I'm actually outlining this E minor 7 that again, the same ones I was teaching. I'm just going down vertically instead of, so I'm not going in order, so I'm actually going from the 5th to root, and then from 7th to 3rd. I do the same thing here in what would be this fingering. Then come back and do an A minor. And that's actually a C major 7 with the root here 7th. It would just be a first inversion. And then, so that's going. And I hit that one twice, just because it makes it flow a little bit better. And then I'm coming right back into there's an A minor 7 from that, where I'm going. Then I'm going to go into this D minor. And there's the E minor 7. Again, trying to use those shapes as much as possible from that I was teaching. Sliding forward into this F major 7, then switching it to a C major 7, root position. Now, fingering on this, I usually will use the third finger here because it puts me in position to be for the C note. Then use the second finger here because that puts me in position for this G note. Then we just throttle and slide off it. So that was this whole middle section on the sheet. So basically, again, how you can use these is you can take them like I was demonstrating and put just, if you're doing some sort of scale run or something, now that's everything is tabbed out, so I'm just going to improvise a little. And be playing through something, and just add in, well, it's 2 note groupings. Or it fits into a lot of other pieces where you'll find it inside bigger sweeping shapes or things like that. I'd check out the other ones so you can combine it with the root positions and the other fingering switch note position. When you combine them all together, it really gives you a lot of freedom to move horizontally and in different ways than just the sweeping positions. Please like the video, hit subscribe if you haven't, and any questions leave in the comment section. I'd just be glad to answer them. Thanks for watching.